Yes. But last time they asked you all the advantage of investing in government security. So government security means it's obviously treasury bills and treasury bonds thing. So same answer only you have to write here. Okay. As I said, liquidity will increase. Okay. It can be zero risk kerala puluvan. Okay. And also guarantee. Government's guarantees there. So those are the answers. Same thing only repeated. Wait a minute. Fine. Now, next, write two differences between licensed commercial bank and licensed specialized bank. So usually it falls under unit 7, but this is also financial management. You can write answers for this part. It can come under finance also. Okay. So difference between licensed commercial and licensed specialized, it would be better if you can draw a table and show the differences. So you have licensed commercial bank and then you have licensed specialized bank. Ayyo, wait. Licensed commercial bank and licensed specialized bank. The first difference is if you take licensed commercial bank is the only bank which can maintain current account. LSBs can't. And it's the only bank which can run foreign currency transactions. LSBs can't. LCB is the only bank which can create money. But LSBs can't. And LCB, you had to have more than 20 billion to start. But LSBs, you need only 7.5 million to start. So those are the differences. They have asked only two, but I have written four. Right? Then write four reasons for Colombo stock market to be important for the economic development of Sri Lanka. So once they ask you the importance of Colombo stock market for the businesses, okay, for the companies, now they're asking all for the economy. So write four reasons, but it's a 4-mark question. So it's better if you can write one reason in a lengthy sentence, not as a paragraph, a lengthy sentence. Okay. If they have asked you to explain only, you have to write as a main point and explain. But here just write four reasons inside. You can write one big sentence. It's completely enough. So what's the importance of investing in stock market for an economy? Ayyo, the answer is not there. Here it's there. You can encourage individuals and institutional investment. You can encourage people to invest. And also investors can enjoy various benefits like ownership, dividends, bonus. And also companies also get a chance to get a large amount of capital. More than that, you can get foreign investors investing money in Sri Lanka. And government also have a chance to sell the government securities. Why? Even the state companies also can issue shares to the Colombo stock market. Okay, so those are the importance for the economy through Colombo stock market. Okay, no. Business studies, okay, usually you write only 4 maximum 4. You don't write 8. You don't write more than 4. Usually maximum should be 4 only. Okay, there is no answer where they expect you to write 6 reasons, 8 reasons, no, only 4. Fine. Then describe what is capital budgeting. So capital budgeting means the budget where you prepare, plan a future investment. Okay. So see the answer here. Capital budgeting is the process a business undertakes to evaluate a potential in a future major project or an investment. Okay. Then what's the other question? First one is capital budgeting. There is an advantage of sourcing funds internally than externally for a business. Do you agree with this statement? For the third time, they have asked you internal and external source of finance. But this time they're asking all the opposite way. So earlier you wrote the importance for external, but here they're asking you the importance of internal here. But be smart, I said you all, you can go with both of the answers. So even the scheme says you are going with yes, you can even go with no. Because internal and external both has advantage and disadvantage. Based on the company only, you can see whether internal is good or external is good. So if you are saying internal is good means you have to write the advantages of internal. Okay, just to showcase that internal is good and make sure you write the disadvantages of external also. For example, we'll say one disadvantage of external source of finance is, okay, it's compulsory repayment. You have to must repay the money. Here you can take that point and write here, no need to pay back the money. So simply when structuring the answer, you show that internal is good, external is bad. If you want to show like that, what you have to do is internal ke advantages liya known. If you take external ke disadvantages තියෙන ඒක ලියන්න ඕනේ. So that's how you have to structure your answer. Okay, fine. Then, any other questions from 2020? That's it, me. Yes. Okay. Alright. Then 2023. Is there any other question? No, right? 7123A. 3A, 3A, 3A. Mm, that's all, ne? Yes. The 23. Question number 22. If a company's acid test ratio can quick ratio is 0.5 and current ratio is 1.7, majority of the current assets contain. What's the answer? So the quick asset is 0.5. Okay, the current ratio is 1.7. That means for one liability, you have half of current quick assets and you have 1.7 of current assets. So what's the answer for this? This is my question, the paper which I did. So there's a big confusion for us in this question. Make question එක පොඩි වැරද්දක් තියෙනවා. There's a small mistake in this question. Can anyone find out the mistake here? So they're asking all quick asset ratio is 0.5. Current ratio is 1.7. So you know that, okay, usually current assets, if you want to convert the current assets into quick assets, from current assets, you have to remove two assets. What are two assets we remove? We remove the closing stock and we remove the prepayments. If you remove closing stock and prepayment only, you'll get the quick assets. So here they're asking, oh, there's a difference, it seems. They're saying current ratio is 1.7, quick ratio is 0.5. So you can understand why there's a difference. Why? Because why current asset is high? Because current asset has quick closing stock and prepayment. That's the reason they are at a very high value. But quick asset, if you take, it is only 0.5 means why? Because closing stock and prepayments are not included in that. That's the reason quick asset is low. So here it should be second one or fifth one, but the scheme goes with fifth one. The reason is because more than prepayments, inventory is the perfect answer because inventory has the least liquidity. Because quick asset take care to remove what are the assets which has least liquidity means, right, the time or the effort or the cost you incur to convert an asset into cash. So stocks are very difficult to convert into cash. So that's the reason you go with the fifth one as the answer. Prepayment, the inventory is the best answer. I'm not saying prepayment is wrong. Most appropriate is inventory. Okay, then question 25. Select the answer relating to gearing ratio. Ability to detect solvency. Yes, that's the answer. So through gearing, you can understand how much of debt and equity you have. Okay, whether the company has the capability to repay the money that has taken from external people. Operational efficiency, that is operating ratio. Short-term expenses, that is current ratios, liquidity. Recognize the financial risks, that is investment. Predicting earnings, that is earnings per share. So answer is the first one. Okay. Then 2538A. The probability of an ordinary shareholder losing money is known as risk. Whereas the profit allocated by the companies for his share investment is called dividend. It's called dividend. Okay. Then 39. In cash flow statement, purchasing of non-current asset is an example for investing activities. Cash flow statement. While issuing ordinary share is an example for financing activity. You can identify. You can ask me, sir, how to identify whether investment, the financing. The investment can, if your money goes out for a long-term purpose, investing. But if you are getting money for a long-term purpose, means financing. So ordinary shares means you are getting money for a long-term purpose. So that is financing. Okay, but if your money goes out and comes in for a short term, means operating activity. Like credit sales, cash sales, cash purchase falls under operating activities. Right? Then 47. State for benefits an investor can gain by investing in ordinary share. The main advantage they get is capital gains. The other advantage you can write is they get dividends, then ownership, then also they get voting rights. But there's a lot. They get the right issue, bonus issue. Okay, so these are the benefits they get. Then part 2, question number 6, 4 and 5. 4. Try to direct financial sources Kanchana can use for the business. So Kanchana, what's a business? Recently started an electrical appliance manufacturing company in Sri Lanka. Company, all these products are in introduction. Okay, so company name. So what are the direct means? You know, the intermediary. So we studied this already. Shares, debentures, retained earnings. So those are the answers. Then state to instances where capital investment decisions are needed to be made. Okay, ඒක අපි discuss කරානේ. Capital investment, business modernization, expansion, establishment. Those are the answers. Same repeated question. Then fifth one, equations, formula. Calculate the break-even point. Okay, in units and in rupees. Units will calculate 300,000 divided by contribution per unit. Contribution per unit is 500. Two gone, two gone. So it should be 600. 600 units. So if you want to find the selling price, what you do, means 600 AK, you multiply with the selling price, which is 1000, which is almost 600,000. It's your break-even sales. Then, if company sells 1,500 units, what will be the profit generated? So simple. So profit generated, first of all, find 1,500 multiplied by contribution per unit, which is 500 is your contribution. So your total contribution will be 500 means what's the answer? 75. 750,000. And you know the total fixed cost. Total fixed cost is 300,000. So the profit you will earn is 450,000. Okay. Then, if the company doubles the selling price, what will be the new break-even point? So same fixed cost won't change. It will be the same. Now, if they double means your selling price becomes 2,000 now. So variable cost remains same name. So now your contribution per unit will be 1,500. So now what happens? Go on. So now you have 200 units. Ne? 200, 200 units. Okay, so that's your new break-even point. Right? Then, name 2 ways a public listed company can register. So if you say the ways of listing, there are 3 ways mainly. The first way we can enter the stock market is we say offer for subscription, where you enter and you're going to issue a sharp issue for the public for the first time, where we say IPO, initial public offer. Recently, one of the company issued an IPO. Anyone knows that? It was recorded as the highest value IPO in the world. The IPO's worth is almost like 74 billion. That's the most expensive IPO in this world. Initial public offering offered by a company. Earlier it was Aramco, the Saudi Aramco, the oil company. It was 24 billion. It was for almost like for a 10-year period. But today, not today, I mean last week only, another new company issued. Anyone? A company which is owned by Elon Musk also. Any guesses? Yeah, not Startix, name. So it's SpaceX, name. The rocket launching company. So they have launched an IPO at a starting of 74 billion. Now the worth of this IPO is almost, now the worth of the share is almost like 330 billion. The one share is now valuing is at 145. So Balan, how much of demand is there for those company shares there? The next one is offer for sale. Offer for sale means your existing shareholders will sell a part of the shares so that others can buy. Then introduction. Introduction means you just list. That's it. You don't issue shares for the public or anything. You just go and list your company. That's it. So these are 3 methods. Then what is meant by all share price index? So all share price index means, as I said, it sees the share price movement of all the companies in the stock market and gets an average price movement. Okay. So here I can answer is not there. So I can just dictate you. It shows the share price movements of all the listed companies in share market. Okay, because some company share price can increase, some company share price can decrease, but you have to go with an average value. Today, what was the share price movement? Averagely increase the decrease. They can all share price index. Okay. Then State two differences between a cash budget and a capital budget. So you have cash budget here, capital budget here. So if you want to show the differences, so in cash budget, you record both inflows and outflows. Okay, cash inflows and outflows. Okay, and in cash budget, you prepare for both short term and long term. With a capital budget, we majority record the cash outflows only. And here you don't prepare for short and long, you always prepare for long term only. Okay, then any other things you can include for the difference between cash and capital budget? No, dear, you prepared for long term also, ne? Cash budget. Future finance. It should be short term only, ne? Uh, yeah, we'll take only short scale. Because we prepare only for 1 year, ne? Then any other stuffs? What are the other things we can record? The difference, check it out. What are the other differences we can show? Cash and capital. They are have asked only two differences, but anything? Mm, yeah. In cash, okay, you can record all the three. You'll record investing, financing, and operating also. But in capital budget, you majority record only investing activity, how your money goes out. Okay, so that's another thing you can. Of operating term, you have to write here also. For the amount you invested, what's the return you are getting? And two decisions. What are two decisions you can take through this ratio? One is whether to invest in this company or not. That's the first decision you can take. And you can also see what's their financial performance, how this company is performing. And more than that, you can use this ratio to compare this company and another company's performance. Okay. Then any other questions? No, that's it. Okay, 2024. So May two papers on the balana because based on these two papers trend only, your papers also will be structured. Okay, so you can see whether they have asked predominantly on equations and all means maybe for your batch they won't ask mostly. But if they have not tested means there is high chance of testing. Okay. So say 2024, question number 22. What is an example for internal and direct source? Third time they have repeated the same question now. Internal direct is retained profits. If they, because bench ordinary share external. Factoring is also external. Oh no, that is internal, but that is indirect. You need a factoring company to do the factoring. Factoring means selling your trade receivables. Venture capital is external. Uh, Trade credit is also external. From the following, the type of domestic debt that was recently restructured by the government of Sri Lanka. So the recently restructured government of Sri Lanka, if they want to restructure, they will restructure only the government securities, net treasury bills or treasury bond. So they usually restructure the long-term debt. Okay, so it should be treasury bond. Restructured Kenya guys, they have issued like 10-year, 20-year treasury bond. Now maybe the government is facing an issue in repaying that money. So they will restructure. They'll say the investors, Balana, we have a small cash issue. For this year, we won't pay you interest. Maybe next year we'll pay you the double the amount. You have to make a restructure. So usually restructure is done for treasury bond. And also they're saying domestic debt. Domestic debt the loan that is taken by the government from the what? People. From the country. So what's the loan they take from the people? Treasury bond and treasury bond. So here it's the fourth one. So now you'll have a confusion. Bills or bonds, so usually restructure current now. You go with treasury bonds only. Okay. Then 25 also we can tip name. According to the above information, how much is the opening cash balance for the month of April? So opening balance 10, inflows 30. That means 40,000. You add inflows and minus outflows name. So 40,000 minus 20, it's 20,000. Opening balance. February opening 20, 40, 60. 60 65 goes means minus 5 is the amount you have. Here set off, here it's minus 40. Here once again minus. Guys, what's the amount? I think there's a small error in this question. Cannot say me the accurate number. What's the mistake in this table? One hundred mistakes the another. Is it minus 5,000? The answer. Question number 25. Is it minus 5,000? Yes. Okay. So it's minus 5,000. Fifth one, minus 5,000. Okay. How you identified me? How I found the answer? Okay. Opening balance you have to add with the inflow and minus with outflow. So from February you have a negative balance. Okay. So negative balance only will be repeated every year. Then question number 29. 29 Balamo. The following table depicts some terms in financial statements and calculation methods. So they ask us to match net profit. Net profit, how to calculate net profit, gross profit plus operating income minus operating expense. Correct. That's a way to calculate net profit. Sales revenue. Sales minus, so sales revenue, cash sales plus credit minus return inwards. Yes, that is correct. Return inwards means when you sell a product, if the product is returned to you, so there is a return inwards gain. So you have to minus that also from your sales because you didn't sell the product anyways. Then profit for the period. Profit for the period, net profit, it's not equal, it's minus. Huh? Minus income tax, correct. A. Gross profit is sales revenue minus cost of sales. Cost of sales means opening plus closing minus closing stock. But with that, any carriage inverse or anything, you add with purchase. So it should be C. D, E, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C. Third one is the answer. 38B. 38B. Uh, Interest blank ratio is used to measure the ability of a company to pay interest. So interest coverage ratio only says whether we have the ability to pay the interest for the loans we have taken and its outstanding debt, whereas assets blank ratio is measure how efficiently a company is using asset to generate revenue. So usually we say assets turnover ratio. Assets turnover ratio only says how effectively we are using the company assets to generate a revenue. Okay. Hari then 38B 43 question. 43rd Balamo. Indicate four benefits that a manager can obtain by analyzing the financial statements of a company. Think you are the finance manager. By analyzing, careful finance managers don't prepare financial statement. Preparing financial statement is the duty of the accountant. So finance managers, they just analyze, evaluate how the performance is. So through financial statement, what's the decisions they can make? You can write, okay? Measure companies operational efficiency. Good. Operational efficiency. Be smart. You can write the purpose of all the financial statements one by one. Then you can write, okay, financial efficiency, operation efficiency calculate karna. They use profit or loss. And there's something called balance sheet also. Through balance sheet, but you can see. Hana good. Through balance sheet, but you can see what you can analyze. You can read the purpose of all the financial statements there. Yes, you can see your financial position, right? Okay, you can write evaluate the company's financial position. Evaluate the company's what? Financial positions. And you can take cash flows also. You can see how much change in cash flows. Change in cash flows during the period. And also you can say to compare the performance with other businesses. To compare the performance with other business also they need. Or you can write to prepare the ratios. And also you can write to be informed. Okay. About the financial situation. Or this is not a perfect answer, but you can say this one. To keep our stakeholders updated, dude. That's the main reason of preparing financial statements. Why we prepare financial statement? To provide information for our interested parties. So you can take that also. Okay, good. Then part 2. Question number 7-1. 712, 712. Well, briefly define the liquid ratio. Liquid ratio means the ratio which we use to identify the short-term solvency. Short-term solvency means whether we have sufficient assets to settle our short-term liabilities. So explain two benefits. So same question repeated. So I said when writing the advantage of liquidity ratio, make sure you write the advantages of both current ratio and quick ratio. Current ratio advantage, you can see whether you have the short-term assets to repay the liabilities. Quick ratio, okay, you have to write whether you have short-term quick assets to settle the short-term liabilities. So those are the two advantages you have to write. The advantage of current and quick ratio. Then indicate four benefits of preparing a cash budget. Make us be alert. The advantage of preparing a financial budget. So that's the same question. What is interbank? Again, the repeated question. The same questions has been repeated again and again. So, guys, there is a risk for you now. The risk is because you can now see many questions have been tested. So from 2011 till 2025, okay, you can see they have almost tested all the question in the syllabus. They have only two options left. Either to test the same question again and again. For example, if you take interbank, cash budget and all, those are repeated question. So why it is repeated? Because why? You are doing the past papers for almost like 20 odd years, the same syllabus. So same questions only they will ask. Okay, maybe after 20 or 25 years, now they don't have any questions to ask because they have asked every question from the syllabus. So since now they are clueless, maybe they can go with the repeated question. That's a good thing for you. Because repeated questions when you have experience of doing past papers, but there is a bad thing also. Can anyone say me? Since they are running out of questions from the syllabus, what they can do? One is they can ask the same question again and again like this, or they can go with what? Gurikma. That could be a risk for you. Not other areas you can't take because in finance management, every area is tested. 25 years can I see almost like a 15 to 16 years. All the questions will be tested. Okay, complete syllabus is got. They can ask you some general questions now. Out of syllabus, yes, out of syllabus, a good chances never. Okay, in finance management, they can ask because last year they asked a very good question in operations management about this one. But variance. So, current guys, in a higher studies only you do. But they have asked in ALs also. So, finance also, maybe they can ask you some out of syllabus practical questions. They can ask you. Because now you can see the last 2 years, the trend is a bit changing. So you can maybe, because I am not saying only finance management, in many chapters, they can ask you some out of box. Practical questions are a chances here now because nowadays many see now they're asking practical questions. Practical because why? Now they don't have any questions to ask because they've already asked all the questions in the past 15 years. Same syllabus, right? So they're now out of questions. So the one move is ask the repeated question, or the other move is go with present, current questions. So you can say there can be a risk. So be careful, be updated also. Okay. So what is interbank call money market? We discussed that. Then once again, the same question repeated. What is working capital? Write two reasons why it is essential. Okay, for the fourth time they have tested. So see, they are out question. So the same thing they're asking again and again. Alright. Now comes the important paper. Please have your eyes on this because based on this only you can predict, you can have an assumption how your paper will be designed. Okay, so be ready. Yeah? Question 29. I think there's a small mistake in this question. Can anyone correct me, please? A, average daily sales. B, daily sales. C, daily sales. But this one we no need to do, because this is information system, right? Correct? Information system question में data information. Oh, okay. So while doing information system, अभी make a discuss करो. Now, pa, note करना. In MCQs they have not tested. Okay, so just based on the evaluation, you can see in part 2 they have tested a lot of question. In part 1 they have tested on no MCQs at all, only 2 fill in the blanks. That means for your batch there is a chance of what? There is a chance of what? I'll just show you the trend. 2024, if you take the part 1 and part 2, part 1 they have asked predominantly very high questions. Part 2 only very few questions. If you take 2025, okay, so based on the trend I'm saying, yeah, part 1 there are only few questions. Part 2, okay, there is a lot of question. So based on the trend, maybe for 2026, part 1 එකේ ගොඩක් part 2 එකේ චුට්ටක් අහන්න chances තියෙනවා. So if you are planning to skip this chapter, you are at a risk. Why? Because part 1 they're asking a lot means you had to do. You can't omit that. So for your batch, maybe financial management is gonna be a must try question. So please don't neglect it. Please have a focus. Okay. So we'll do the MCQ question number 33. In preparing SL and S&P price index, that okay, fine, repeated question. So here they use liquidity. You can take market capitalization, and you can take financial viability. I think this was the first question we discussed under fill in the blanks in 2016 paper. Okay, then business diversification is an example for long-term investment decision, and dividend decision is an example for long-term financial decision. Then, 36. A high gearing ratio of a company indicates a greater reliance on debt finance. Oh no, external finance, sorry. You're highly depending on external finance, whereas a low gearing ratio indicates a greater reliance on internal finance. Am I right? That's what the scheme says. So does the scheme goes as debt and equity? Debt and equity or internal and external? We'll see the scheme. Debt and equity. Yeah, debt and equity, sorry. Okay, so you also go with that because gearing eකට we compare debt and equity. No, dear capital capital here it includes both. Capital means both equity and debt. Both we say capital. Okay, so don't just write capital there, it should be debt and equity. Amount paid by investors above the nominal values of share is called as a share market value. So nominal value කියන්නේ price that is set by the company. If we are paying another value means that means the market value of the share. And profit earned from selling shares at a price higher than the share price is called capital gain. Okay. Right. This is a new question. This is the first time we are coming across this question. Right. Then part 2. Part 2 ke බලමු what's the game they have played there. Question 6 4B. Right, this is a good question. Right, two possible reasons for the cash flow issue Amal has faced even though sales increase. Okay, so I remember last class when we were studying about marketing, we learned about his business where he's doing a shoe manufacturing business. He has a good sales, but his sales is almost doubled. But the problem is he's experiencing a cash flow issue. Make out of box, out of syllabus, make a practical question. So you would think the bugger has a lot of sales. But why he's facing a cash flow issue? Can anyone say me? Very good, Hannah. Maybe his outflow is very high. His outflow is very high, but don't just write outflow. Say, what's the outflow? Maybe his expenses are high and his cash expenses are high. Dude, sales is high, never mind. But they didn't say anything about the profit. So even though your sales is high, your expense also can be high. Yes, your operating expenses can be high. And also you can say maybe his majority of his sales is on credit. So when you do credit sales, you don't get cash. And also you can write maybe the debtors are taking more period to pay the money. The debtors turnover, the collection period is very high. Debtors are taking huge time, much time to pay the money back. So you don't have cash. Yeah, maybe all the sales are doing is on credit. You have a high operating expenses. You have to pay a huge amount. Maybe you can say high salary payments. Oh, okay, high taxes. Right? Taxes also you have to pay in cash. So those are the reasons. Practical thinking. Then, Amal plans to expand his business using either personal savings or a bank loan. Which option would you recommend to him? Provide two advantage and two disadvantage. So what do you all say? Going with a personal savings is good or a bank loan is good? He is running a sole proprietor business. What do you say? Personal savings or bank loan? Think wisely and say. Which one would be better? Bank loan, you can't say. Think the reason. One reason is bank loan, if you're gonna go means you're having a liability. Okay? And that is another main issue. Why? ඔයාට cash flow issue එකක් තියෙනවා. You have a cash flow issue එකක්. So because of a cash flow issue, you can't pay installments there. You can't pay interest there. So you can't have a continuity there. Question mark. Personal savings meaning the money which you have already saved. So you can use that money. It's your own money, you need to repay. Bank loan is better, but the problem is this bugger has a cash flow issue. He doesn't have proper cash in his business. Then how he can repay the loan? So it's better to go with what? Personal savings. So now when writing advantage and disadvantages, be smart. Personal savings is internal source of finance. Bank loan is external source of finance. So you can write the advantages of internal and disadvantages of internal. So you can write advantage okay, there is no need to repay. And also there's no diluting ownership and you can have a better control. You're using your own money name. Disadvantage is gattut, you can't raise a huge money. Capital. And same another disadvantage of internal source, maybe working capital issues can be there. Okay, so those are the disadvantages. Okay. No interest. Yeah, advantage you can write. No interest. There's no cost. Correct. There is no cost. Okay. Then what is a venture capital? So venture capital means the company which provides, the organization which provides you capital, okay, which provides you money either to start a business or to expand a business. They don't give loans. They give capital for you. Okay, they give money and they ask ownership in return. ඒක තමයි venture capital කියන්නේ. Then explain difference between a primary and a secondary market. So again, we'll draw a table and show. But no need to write because primary and secondary market to show difference, you have much differences. So maybe you can write like this. Primary market you can go with no. We can draw a table also. Wait a minute. Primary market, secondary market. First of all, primary market, okay, who are the two participants in primary market of treasury bill? The participants are CBSL and primary dealers. In secondary market, the participants are primary dealers and the investors. And in primary market, this is the market where transactions happen for the first time. And secondary market, this is the place where transactions happen for the second time. And in primary market, the price where issue is based on the nominal value. The price which is set by the what? Central bank. But in secondary market, the price is based on the market value. Based on demand and supply only, the price would differ. Okay, so this is a good example for difference between primary and secondary. Okay. Then primary day to day. Yeah, ඒකත් ගන්න පුළුවන්. Primary, yes. Day to day නෙමෙයි, we can also say auction market. That means it happens within a day. Because central bank go on keep, okay, who is ready to come and buy? They are saying, okay, we are gonna issue a treasury bill. Whoever wants, come on this day, auction they had to buy. So the treasury bills are very limited. So they'll put on auction. The primary is whoever wants, they can bid and they can buy. So it is auction market. But secondary market is not like that. Okay. So those are the differences. Then, right to purpose of capitalizing reserves. Capitalizing means bonus issue. So if you give bonus, what's the purpose of the advantage? One is you can increase your stated capital. Company's stated capital can increase. And also you can attract more investors. Why? Investors will love the company because they are giving more dividends. So not more dividends, more bonuses, more shares. Okay, so these are the two advantages. It will increase your stated capital and you can attract more investors. The difference between return on equity and return on investment. So return on equity means the earnings for the equity. Okay, equity capital what are the returns we are earning? Return on investment means how efficiently we are using the assets to earn a return. So there's two difference. Equity means, okay, based on the owners, okay, money they have invested, how much return the company is generating. Investment means based on total investments of the company, okay, based on total assets the company has generated, how much of return they are generating. So remember two keywords. Both are your generating return, but the first one is the return generated through the equity, owner's money. Second one is the return that is generated through the assets of a company. Okay, so these are the two main definitions. So do we have any other questions? Yeah. And once again, what is working capital management? Sixth time they have asked. So working capital management means make sure that you have sufficient cash for your day-to-day activities. ඒක තමයි working capital management කියන්නේ. Okay. So that's it then. Okay, all good. Finance management. Yes. Yes. Okay, now next class we'll be doing HR, and then we'll do information system and business plan. Done with that. Okay. Yeah, dear Hannah, yes, enough. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining and waiting till the end. Bye. Good night. God bless you all. Keep studying. All the best. Huh? Welcome. Bye. Good night. Welcome. Good night.